Hello, welcome back. I'm overdubbing this whole thing because the audio quality is so bad. I'm working on it. Anyway, today we're working on this Deere and going over a few things that I've done off camera, like the oil pan. I cleaned up the underside of all that mess with some foaming engine bright and some WD-40, and that really did a real good job. So I just cleaned all underneath there and put the oil pan back on and put some oil in it. And I needed to do that kind of quickly. As you can see, it snowed. I wanted to get that done before the snow fell, and that worked out pretty well. Also, I broke the ignition switch, so I had to kind of have a rat's nest of wiring here. So I made this sort of wiring matrix to kind of duplicate the ignition switch. Forget about that white wire right there. To kind of duplicate the ignition switch. That's the lead from the battery, and that's the lead to the rest of the system. I just kind of connect those two, and the system comes up, and you can hear the solenoid in the pump clicking. The switch is coming. It just isn't here yet. But the other thing, the main goal I wanted to achieve today was to get the oil flowing, get the engine turned over. So I have my nice Butterfingers. I have my little trigger right here, and I'm looking at the oil pressure switch. Let's see if I can find it. Where is it? There it is. That's an oil pressure switch. It just goes on and off. It just tells you whether or not you have pressure. I believe the switch triggers at, I don't know, 10 psi or something like that. So I couldn't make that light in the dash go on. So I simply have, I made up an extra wire that just goes to the switch. Get in there. There you go. I made that wire that goes to the switch, and I have the other end of the wire going through an ohm meter, and the ohm meter is going to kind of take the place of the oil pressure light. It's probably going to show an open when the engine is not cranking, and as soon as you got to turn it on, turn it on. There you go. There you go. It's supposed to show an open when the engine is not cranking, and when the engine starts cranking, that's supposed to close. It's supposed to show some some resistance there, a closed circuit. So that ohm meter is going to take the place of a light. Hopefully, that's my goal anyway. Guess I'm talking a lot about that in the video. Once I see some oil pressure, I'm also hoping to see some fuel. So I'm going to loosen up the injectors here. That's one bolt. Here, there's another. Here, there's another one. And here, there's the fourth one. I'm going to loosen up those injectors to make it easier for the engine to crank. And I'm also going to loosen those fuel lines there, and there to make it easier for the pump to start flowing. That one's a little tight, but anyway, we'll get all those loosened up, give the engine a chance to crank over, build a little oil pressure, and see if we're going to get some fuel. That would be nice. I'm not sure what else I could possibly be saying right now. Getting my fingers in the way there. That's great. So I put you on the tripod here. Get you a nice look at that broken light right there. Did I disappear? I think I disappeared somewhere. Oh, there I am with some wrenches. I'm going to what am I doing here? I'm loosening up the lines first, it seems. It takes two wrenches, one to hold the injector and one to loosen up the line. Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing. That part of the injector right there is a real flimsy, so you want to make sure you put a wrench on it. And that guy is a part you want to loosen up right there. We're not going to take them off at the moment. We're just going to loosen them. I obviously can't tell that I've got the camera looking right at the broken light. So here's a lovely view of my back working on this engine. There's no way I can show you what's going on here. All right, looks like I'm done with the injector lines. Let's take a closer look. I'm talking about how I just simply loosened those up. I didn't take them off, just made them a little bit loose, and that's just to help with the engine. And now we're going to loosen those bolts, 4 of those, and take the injectors loose. All right, and now the injectors are nice and loose. Looks like I'm done with that. So let's take a closer look at what's happening here. Oh, we're going around the other side. I think we're gonna crank it over. Make sure. Oh, that thing, I have no idea what that is. Still have no idea, except it's plumbed with that tiny little capillary line right to the intake. So I don't know if that's supposed to be like an easy place to shoot ether in, or what, I don't know what would be the other purpose of that. Um, who knows? If anyone knows, please pipe up. I'd certainly be interested. All right, so we're just about ready to start cranking. Checking everything here, making sure everything looks just fine. Making sure my charger is disconnected. Whoop, jumped. Let's see. Give it a crank, see what happens. We got some dirty battery connection. Got some sparks going on. So I have to clean up the battery terminals. Takes me a few minutes to realize that I need to go get a Dremel and clean up the battery terminals. All right, so I've found my Dremel. I was looking for my battery cleaner brush, but I couldn't find it. So I had to go use a Dremel with a sanding disc in it here, and I'm just simply taking off the battery terminals and kind of whizzing inside them with the Dremel to clean them off because I wasn't getting a good connection. Here, I'll make the sound effects for you. There we go. All right, we're wrapping up with the Dremel. Looks like it's getting pretty nice and tight on there. Give it a shot. Hit it. Crank, 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 crank. Nothing on the meter. Don't see anything happening. What's going on? Engine's definitely cranking.
Still nothing.
Hmm. Wonder what's happening. So the oil pressure switch isn't working. We know that's true. But we want to see if we're pushing fuel. So we're going to disconnect that line that goes from the lift pump to the injection pump. We're not going to disconnect it. We're just going to loosen it a little bit. And we're going to crank it again, see if we're pushing any fuel. There, I come back with a different tool. It's real hard to get the camera right where I'm working because it's a little tight in there. But I'm loosening up the line that goes, loosening up the fuel line that goes to the pump. And of course, it's right behind that hydraulic hose, so you really can't see anything. Here's a crank. Oh, and you can see there's fuel dripping. I don't know if you saw that. It got a little bit wet directly under there, under that fitting. So we know that the lift pump is pushing fuel. Let's tighten up that fitting again. going to crank it some more.
Yeah, nothing yet.
Still nothing. Wonder what's going on here. Hmm. All right, so we're going to kind of forget about fuel for a little while, and we're going to look at the oil. We're going to go over to the other side of the tractor and have a look at that oil switch. I pulled the oil switch out. At least at this point, I believe it's the oil switch. There it is. And you can see where it was right there. So while we watch, I'm going to crank the engine over, and we'll see if oil comes shooting out of there. There we go. Take a good look. I'm positioning the camera. Oh, black gold, Texas tea. Struck it rich. Woo! All right, so we know there's definitely oil pressure. Let's plug that hole back up so we don't have an Exxon Valdez level oil spill in the backyard there. And there's a nice view of the frame. Look, I'm not a cameraman, okay? All right, and we're back to this side of the tractor. I just went over there to make sure the throttle is turned up all the way, and I'm pretty sure that's all the way. And we're gonna crank it again. And see what
Nothing yet.
Yeah, the battery's getting tired. I don't blame you.
You may hear some strange kind of clanky noise. That's the little cap that's sitting on top of the exhaust. I just never took it off. So there's no fuel. So here I am looking for a bleed screw, and I didn't realize at that point that the Stanadyne doesn't have one. I'm thinking that's a bleed screw. Maybe that. Nah, I can't really tell. Doesn't look. And now I'm convinced that is a bleed screw. So I'm gonna go get a screwdriver and take out that screw. Turns out that does open up to the governor housing. So fuel should indeed come out of there, but it's really not a bleed screw. I think it's a full speed stop screw. Um, I think that's the screw I took out. Anyway, so here's a closer look. See if I can get in there. That's yeah, I believe that's a stop screw. But anyway, that's going to come out. And I'm right about one thing, that if the pump is working, fuel should come out of that screw with the engine cranking over. So I'm just gonna, wow, nice camera work here. I'm gonna take that screw. Am I gonna take it all the way out? The suspense is killing me. There we go. We're gonna take the screw all the way out. So it's a very long screw. It does have a washer on it. I'm not sure what that screw is. Anyway, we're gonna set that down right there. Um, Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably lost that screw by now. That's okay, I can replace it. And we're going to crank it over and see if any fuel comes out. Nothing. We're cranking the engine, nothing's happening. Cranking the engine quite a bit. So certainly by now there should be fuel coming out. So we're going to go, oh, we put that screw back in. That's good. That was very foresightful of me. All right, and I'm checking to make sure that we can hear the shutoff solenoid clicking on and off. It is clicking. You can actually hear it. Making sure the electrical connection is fine. I'm going to take that fuel line loose one more time to make sure that fuel is indeed getting to the pump. We've already checked this, but we're going to check it again. Spoiler alert, I have not yet realized that the injection pump is completely shagged. But we're going to crank it again anyway, because we like cranking engines. Oh, I'm going to put the camera closer first. All right. Oh, we took the line completely off. So you're going to see if fuel comes gushing out of that line there. Yeah, yeah. So that lift pump is definitely working. Going to put that line back on. So I'm realizing that fuel is getting to the pump, but it is not coming out of the pump. We realized that that little screw did not let, we didn't see any fuel coming out of that screw that we took out. I'm going to crank it again just to check. Check our wires again. See if I can see any reason for this engine to act this way. Crank it some more. Still not seeing anything. I'm going to go and put the throttle the other direction, thinking that maybe I had the throttle at idle and the pump wasn't sort of feeding itself. That no matter what the throttle position is, fuel still should have come out of that hole. I didn't realize that at this point in the video. I realize that now. We're going to crank it again. Nothing. Well, we've really given it the old college try here. I think it is just sort of dawning on me at this moment that the injection pump is no good. There, I'm putting that screw back in again. I took it out again just to be on the, I like to check and double check my work. Try to as much as possible anyway. I'm going to tighten that screw, the little screwdriver. Again, it's really hard to get the camera right where I'm working. Anyhow, I'm at the point now where I'm kind of out of time here. We don't know what's wrong with the fuel pump. We know we're getting fuel from the lift pump to the injection pump, but the injection pump is not letting, not pumping fuel. So we really tried everything we can do, and we're not sure exactly what to do at this point except troubleshoot the injection pump. So, thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned. We're going to get more into the injection pump. I'm actually not going to video the injection pump repair just because there's so many other videos out there with a Master Standardine DB4 injection pump. They're pretty common. But we will get deeper in and this thing will start. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.